Caleb from Brownells here, and in today's video we're going to be painting with Gun Kote. So we did a finishing series in the past using primarily the Brownells Alumahide 2, and now we're just going to kind of jump into Gun Kote. I had something to paint, so I figured, why not just kind of get after it and show you guys on video. Now, if you're not familiar with Gun Kote is a thermoset resin, so it's a heat-cured epoxy finish. So you do have to bake it once you're done spraying it. And we're going to actually be spraying out of an airbrush. So this full airbrush kit, you can use a variety of different brushes. This one's a gravity feed. You can use a siphon feed, which has the container on the bottom. You can use pretty much any of the like modeling, I say modeling, the stuff you get at Hobby Lobby, like used to paint like model cars and airplanes and stuff. Those work great for Gun Kote. So Gun Kote, it has excellent heat dissipating qualities. It's abrasion resistant, impact resistant. It's just a really good finish. And compared to Cerakote, you probably won't notice much of a difference in actual durability when you're using it. I've had guns finished in both, and they both wear about at the same rate. And with that, Gun Kote, whenever you're applying it, it's way more forgiving than Cerakote. So I actually prefer to use Gun Kote whenever I can, just for that reason. It's just way more forgiving and stuff like that. So we'll just kind of jump right into it and get started. I'll go through the equipment I'm using real quick here. So this is the Pache D500 SR, and it comes with this compressor. So you can paint with this suppressor. It has the filter on it here. And this is the Talon brush. Like I said, you can use whatever brush you want. I really like this one because it's the double action. I think double action or dual stage, whatever they call it. But when you push down, that starts the airflow, and then you pull back gently to determine how much paint's coming out. So if you want to do some like detailed work at all, it works great for that. If not, and you just want to throw on a bunch of paint, it'll do that too. So this is kind of the best option, kind of a do-it-all. Now, I will say this: the only thing that's really limiting about this particular brush is the size of the reservoir on top here. You'll notice as I'm painting, because I'll get to painting in a little bit here. I just want to do all the talking because I'm going to wear a respirator, so I don't want to try and talk through the sound like Batman or Bane or whatever. Trying to avoid that. So I will say this: a lot of the siphon feeds, the ones that have the screw-on vials on the bottom, those hold a lot more paint. So if you're trying to do a bunch of work real quick, definitely go with those. But I don't mind having to just reach over and pour some more paint in every now and then. If that bothers you, then get something with a larger reservoir on it. If not, then get this one. This one works great. Okay, so I just run this thing. Whenever I turn it on, I just open it up to the max PSI, and I control my flow from the brush. And you can play with that a little bit too. If you don't have one where you can control that, you can adjust your PSI. The big part of this is play with your airbrush first, like spray the wall and stuff, and get your airbrush how you want it. This particular one here, they come with different tips. So different tips work great for different paints. This is a number 3. So number 3 works great for Gun Kote. So that'll save you a little bit of trial and error there. And with that, we have our spray booth here with our exhaust fan. And some decent lighting, enough lighting for me, not great lighting for y'all, but I'll hold it so you can see it a little bit here. And what we're going to be painting here is an Aero Precision M5 receiver set. I'll set that down there. We're going to use some black iron wire. So we do sell this. You can get this at Brownells. I use this for everything: parkerizing, bluing, and painting. Just because it's really strong and it bends and stays where you put it, right? So we'll be using this. I got some cutters for the black iron wire. You can get these at your local hardware store. I'm not going to go into too much detail on that. And a respirator. So respirator with the 6001 filters and the ones that have the particulate filters in them as well. So you're going to want to run that and just protect your lungs, because this stuff is no joke. All right, now when it comes to Gun Kote itself, so we're going to be using. So I keep saying Gun Kote. I know there's two cans here. This one says Brownells Gun Kote. This one says KG Industries Gun Kote. They're both the exact same. KG Industries makes Brownells Gun Kote. So regardless of which one you have, they're the exact same paint. So I'm going to be applying this flat dark earth here, and there's a ball in here, so just make sure you shake up your can well. Whenever you bake it, so you spray it on, it goes on super thin, you only need one coat. Bake it at 325 degrees for 1 hour, and after that you're good to go. If you want to apply additional coats, what I like to do, so you can spray a coat and then it'll be dry to the touch, and then you can spray another coat. What I like to do is spray my base coat, then bake that base coat. So if I'm doing like a camo pattern and I either mess it up or I don't like the way it came out, because Gun Kote is chemical resistant, I can take acetone and spray down that cured finish, or that camo finish over that cured base coat, and then I'm just back down to my base coat. I don't have to start all over again. So that's something to note there. So if you're doing a camo pattern, we're not today, but if you want to see how to do a camo pattern and apply different stencils and stuff like that, check out the Alumahide series we did, because the process is pretty much exactly the same as far as stencils and stuff like that go. All right, so another question I get is, do you like this over Alumahide? And that's kind of an interesting question, because Alumahide comes in a rattle can. It's super convenient to spray. But this, for doing detailed stuff and just having a thinner finish overall, Gun Kote's the way to go. I like to do Gun Kote whenever I can. If I can't, or if I'm in a hurry, sure, Alumahide works great. But as far as like every spray on gun finish in the world, Gun Kote's my favorite. So there's that. And I'm not getting paid to say that by KG. I am technically getting paid to say that by Brownells, because I'm a full-time employee, but even if I didn't work here, I'd still like it. You'll just have to take my word for it. But you'll see whenever I show you how easy it is to apply and stuff. All right, I have this bottle right here. It's full of acetone, so I'm gonna try not to spray this in my face and my eyes, and I'm definitely not gonna drink it. This is a special bottle specifically for chemicals such as acetone, because if you put acetone in a regular like spray bottle, it will blow out the seals and it won't work well at all. So this is a special bottle for acetone. I use acetone for everything. I don't like to use brake cleaner and all that stuff, because even though some of them say they don't have residue, they still typically leave some sort of residue. But acetone is just super clean and it does the job extremely well. So that's what I use. All right, covered that, covered the respirator. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on the exhaust fan and get to painting. But before I do that, because I can't talk while I'm painting, I'm just going to kind of show you some of the techniques I use here. And if you did watch the video on Alumahide 2, a lot of this is going to be the same. So when I'm actually painting my part, and this one's a great example, the parts I'm going to paint first are going to be my hard to reach areas, my contours, right? So you'll see me spraying through here, getting into that trigger guard, getting all those hard to reach nooks and crannies first. So you do that first, so that whenever you come to do your flat areas, you're just spraying those flat areas. Because what will happen is, if you do your flat areas first, and then you try and get into those nooks and crannies, because you have already sprayed all this, you'll end up getting some overspray. And the best way to avoid the overspray is to just get the hard to reach places first. So real quick, I will also show you how I wire these things up. And I'm going to have these so I can hang them and so I can hold them. So I'll just cut off a bit of wire here. And on lower receivers, on AR-15s, I actually like to go through the back where your takedown pinhole is. But on your 308s, that's a little bit different. So we're going to come through the bottom. And show you what I'm doing here in just a second. I fed that wire up through there, and now I'm just going to put a bend in it. And this will also be how I hang it when it's curing. So the reason I ran the wire right there is because everywhere you can see, like the grip will be covering this portion. So everywhere you can see, there's no wire covering up any of the area I need to paint. So this is a perfect spot to hang that wire. All right. Now we'll do the upper receiver. And on these, what I like to do, I'll make a loop here and close it kind of tight. We'll see if that'll fit. Yeah, feed that in through your gas tube hole. And then once it's in, just grab the loop you just fed through, open it up a bit, and now it grabbed on to the upper receiver. And if you want, you can tape off your threads. Gun coat goes on so thin, I don't even worry about it. It's just extra protection for the threads. So we have those done. So what you would do at this point is just degrease everything really well. So just take your degreaser here, and also you're gonna want to wear eye pro and whatnot. But I'm just gonna take my degreaser, start at the top, spray down, and then if you want to speed dry that acetone, you can take a heat gun or something and put it up against there. But just get everything nice and clean and degreased, and then you're ready to start painting. So I'm going to get everything prepped real quick here, and then it's just going to jump into me spraying this thing. All right, so that's the gist of it. And while I was painting, I noticed I missed some important information. So during the prep, I blasted these parts with 120 grit aluminum oxide. That is the recommended whenever you blast it. And yes, you do have to blast it. So if you have anodized parts, we talked about this in the Alumahide series. Again, I'd still recommend watching that because there's a lot of good information in there. But if you have an anodized part, you just have to lightly blast over it and you're basically just removing the sheen, giving it a dusting and roughing up that anodized surface. You don't have to get all the anodizing off. The reason these were blasted all the way is because they had a coating on them previously, so we blasted all that old stuff off and got them back to the bare aluminum. So you can do it either way. This stuff does work on plastic. I've painted plastic stocks and stuff like that. If you use like Magpul or B5 plastic, you can bake those at the full temperature in the oven. Just stay at 325, all right? Don't go too high. Some other plastics may be a little iffy. I don't know about those. But KG makes something called KG 180 that lets you bake it at a lower temperature. It's a little bit trickier to work with, but if you have some plastic you got to paint that is heat sensitive, then it's definitely worth it in that case. So if you notice on the workpiece, I tried to stay moving for the most part, and using this particular gun, I'm able to spray on the piece and then no paint's coming out until I actually pull back on that trigger, right? So I'm able to kind of start on the workpiece and I'm spraying it. And you'll notice like the receiver was wet sometimes, and I actually just sprayed it with air to kind of help dry it a little bit before I kept painting to help me prevent overspraying in certain areas. GunKote's really good about kind of leveling out. So like I said, it's easier to work with. You have a less chance of overspraying in most cases with GunKote, which is one of my favorite things about it because I don't paint every day, right? So I'm not a professional gun painter. So it's for people like me, it's perfect. And that's pretty much all there is to it. Notice I did start with the harder to reach areas. And whenever I was working in the magwell on that lower receiver, I sprayed air through it and then engaged just a little bit of paint so that I could kind of get around on the inside and basically just dust the entire inside with paint. And I was just barely pulling back on the trigger, so I wasn't spraying full paint. And that kind of helped me get all the way in that magwell without overspraying on the edges that were closest to me. So that's a really good technique whenever you're spraying inside of something like that. And I didn't bother taping off any holes or anything like that because I kept it super light. GunKote goes on really thin, so that shouldn't be an issue. If you have something with some really tight tolerances, then maybe consider plugging those holes with the Q-tip or something like that. But that's all there is to it. I'm going to go ahead and throw these parts in the oven, and we'll bake them at 325 for 1 hour, and they're done. We just let them cool, and we can reassemble everything. So if you have any questions, comments, anything like that, feel free to post them down below. And if you need help with anything, especially your painting projects, feel free to give us a call on the tech line. We'll be happy to help you out. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.